Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Eastside Legend, and today I will play the audio, let you hear the video, and then give my opinion on it. Today we adding to a video. Her name is Jessica Eyes. The title of the video is She's Lying to You If She Does This. And I'm going to turn it around and show y'all.
Truthful person might forget small irrelevant details, but they don't.
So that's the YouTube name right there, Jessica Eyes. You can look it up on YouTube. And don't forget, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want to know what channel I'm reacting to, play this video back and you will see the name.
Just try believing all this power in your frequency.
So right now, I'm reacting to Jessica Eyes, The Lies Women Tell. Comment down below, like, subscribe. I need this.
Was to make the path to getting that loan.
In this video, I'm going to break down the exact behaviors that expose a woman who lies, not occasionally, but habitually. You're going to learn how to spot patterns early, how to interpret the subtle signs, and most importantly, what these behaviors actually mean about her character, so you stop wasting time trying to figure her out and start making smarter decisions. You ready? Let's jump right in. Jessica OS here. Welcome to the channel. Sign 1. The stories keep evolving over time. A woman who lies consistently doesn't rely on one bold, obvious lie. That would be too easy to catch. Instead, she builds a flexible version of reality that can shift depending on what she needs in the moment. And if you're not paying attention, those shifts will feel small enough to ignore, but together they'll tell you everything. The first version of the story is clean, simple, and designed to close the conversation quickly. I stayed in. I was with my cousin. Nothing really happened. There's no detail, no depth, nothing you can really question without looking like you're digging too hard. So you let it go. Then time passes and something subtle changes. Maybe she casually mentions being out. Maybe a name slips into the story that wasn't there before. Maybe the timeline stretches. Now, what you have is not direct contradiction, but a slight adjustment. And this is where a lot of guys fail the test because they treat that adjustment like it's harmless. But I need you to think about this logically. If the original story was accurate, why does it need editing? A truthful person might forget small, irrelevant details, but they don't forget the core elements of.
If she keep telling you different stories, she lying. She told you she was with her cousin, then she telling you I was with my cousin, but somebody else came. It's always a sticky situation with women like this because they lying, but they trying to find a way to cover it up.
Their story. They don't forget where they were, who they were with, what they were doing in a meaningful way. So when those things start to shift, you're not dealing with memory, you're dealing with a narrative control. If you find yourself having to mentally reconstruct her timeline to make it make sense, you're no longer observing the truth, you're managing confusion. This behavior is about lying as much as it is about control. When someone controls a story, they control how you feel about what happened. They decide what you know, when you know it, how much access you have to the truth. And that creates some form of a power imbalance. And whether you realize it or not, you start operating from a weaker position. You see, the problem isn't.
Did y'all hear that? She only tell you what she wants you to know. She don't tell you what you need to know.
So much that the stories change. The problem is that you keep accepting updated versions without holding the original story accountable. A guy who respects himself simply observes and adjusts his behavior accordingly. Because once someone shows you that their truth is flexible, you can't build anything stable on top of that. Sign 2. She gets defensive instead of clear. See, a woman who's telling the truth doesn't need to fight you for clarity. She might be surprised. She might even be slightly annoyed, depending on how you ask, but she'll still answer the question because, well, the truth basically does not require protection. Now, when she's lying, on the other hand, she won't defend the facts. She defends herself. That's the shift that you need to look out for. You bring something small up, and
When women lie, they always move the goal point. Let me say this one more time. When women lie, they always move the goalposts. So if you ask her about where she was at, or who she was with, or why she was gone too long, if she get defensive, you already know the answer.
instead of getting clarity, you get resistance. Not just hesitation, resistance. And it usually comes in 3 layers. First, she questions your intention. Why are you asking me that? Notice what just happened? The focus moved away from the situation and onto you. Now you're the one being evaluated. Second, she labels your behavior. You're being insecure. You're overthinking. You don't trust me, etc. These labels aren't answers. They're tools designed to make you feel like the problem so you stop pushing. Third, she escalates emotionally. Her tone changes, she gets irritated, maybe even offended. Now you're dealing with her reaction instead of the original question. You asked a simple question, and instead of getting that simple answer back, you're now defending your character, managing her emotions, and trying to keep the conversation from blowing up. That's a shift in power. And once that happens, you stop leading the conversation. A question doesn't equal accusation, and if someone treats it like one, you need to ask yourself why. Because when someone reacts strongly to a simple question, it's usually because the answer is not something they want to say out loud. Now, I'm not telling you to turn into an interrogator. That's not the move here. But you need to understand the difference between healthy defensiveness and downright deflection. Healthy defensiveness leads to clarity. Strategic deflection leads to confusion. And confusion is where lies operate best because this behavior trains you. Over time, you learn that asking questions leads to conflict. So what do? You stop asking. You suppress your curiosity. You ignore things that don't feel right just to keep the peace. That's how someone slowly conditions you to accept less truth than you deserve. Here's a challenge. The next
See, that's the bullshit. When you stop asking questions, she stop answering. It's not like she's just gonna come out and tell you everything. If you know anything about women, you know they talk a lot. Some of them talk too much. But you can catch them up in the lie if they talking too much and they tell on themselves. But like I said earlier, they gonna try to find a way to hide it. And then again, they gonna move the goalposts, so they try to shift the blame